Good morning and welcome to the first episode of The Shadower, where we job shadow various people. Today I'm going to be cheating just a little bit, because we're going to be going to my job today. Okay, so technically we're going to be shadowing my dad today. We're going to see what he does for a living. Now my dad, he's self-employed, he's a freelancing engineer, and he works from home. So yeah, I drive all the way across town every day just to go to work at my parents' house. Now, he does have quite a bit of experience working for himself. He's also worked for engineering companies, but we're gonna get a feel for which way he likes to work better. He's been really busy, so he's hired me as his assistant, and that's what I do for a living right now. So I'm just getting into work, and yeah, there's people sleeping here right now, so I'm trying to be quiet. But here's my office. And of course, he's not even here right now. So the main part of this job is drafting. We use a program called AutoCAD, or sometimes Revit, where it's a pretty good designing software so that you can draw buildings. This is what it looks like. So here we have a plan right here. So this is showing all kinds of things. Here's the walls, the floor plans, the electrical, and the trusses and the beams. Everything in the house and what keeps it together. So that's the majority of what I do here. Like I said, I'm my dad's assistant, so he goes out to meetings. He's gone most of the day, almost every day. So he just calls in and tells me to do stuff or send him stuff, check his email, send plans out to people, go out and deliver things, print out drawings, just whatever comes up. Look, we finally made it home. How would you compare being self-employed to working at a bigger firm?
Well, when you're working at a bigger firm, you always have to answer to somebody else. You have a boss looking over you. And that can be really good if you need the guidance, but it can also be cumbersome if you don't get along very well with your boss. It is nice to have a steady paycheck at a big firm.
Yeah, so how do you get paid working for yourself then?
I have to write invoices and then go hound people to try to get collections, and hopefully try to do it in a way where they don't feel like they're being hounded. So it all comes back to having good relationships with your clients and being able to understand your clients' needs, and understanding that some clients are gonna, in particular talking about getting paid, some clients will pay right away if you charge them a little less, and some clients will pay right away if you give them better service. So it all comes back to understanding your clients and what they need and what they want.
Right. So what do all your clients do? Like, so you're the engineer, so where do you fall in place as far as the timeline of how a project goes?
So I'm a professional engineer licensed in California, but I work with architects and do structural design. So almost all of my clients are architects. They draw what they want the building to look like, and my job is to make sure that it doesn't fall down. And I've been doing that most of my life. Grew up working in my dad's architectural firm, and I've been working on building design for 26 years now.
So if somebody would want to get into engineering or into the whole architecture field, where would you suggest they start?
If they're interested in engineering and working on building design, one of the best things they can do is try to get an internship in an architect's or an engineer's office somewhere, and just try to get a feel for how things work, try to understand how to put a set of drawings together, and also try to understand how the different people work together, how the architects work with their consultants. It also doesn't hurt if you have some construction experience and actually see how a building goes together. That can help quite a bit. And if you're interested in engineering in particular, then take math classes, take science classes. You have to take differential equations in college. So
yeah, I was gonna say, what's a good major to go for if you're trying to do this?
So I have a bachelor's of science in civil engineering, that's not a bad way to go. I know lots of engineers who got their bachelor's degrees in math and then did graduate school in engineering. That's also not a bad way to go. But yeah, you need to focus in part on the math and then in part on the communication skills. We find that a lot of engineers struggle in their communication skills, being able to write a letter or write a paper, things like that. If you're good at that, you'll really stand out in engineering school.
Yeah, I think social skills are the one thing that engineers aren't the best at usually.
Yeah.
So, do you know much about how this kind of engineering compares to other types of engineering?
So I do a lot of work with electrical engineers and mechanical engineers, and we have similar business structure styles anyway. I think most people work for relatively small firms, all the way down to a single man firm. As far as it relates to other fields of engineering, I wouldn't know necessarily how an aerospace engineer does their job, but it seems like they would have a hard time being self-employed.
So, what's your end goal with this job? Are you just going to keep doing this until you can retire, or?
Most likely, yeah. It's not a real physically demanding job. I spend probably too much time sitting at a desk, and so it's the kind of thing that I could do into old age. A lot of my friends have done it into their 70s. So yeah, it's probably where I'll end up.
So I know that there were a few points in time where you had a lot of employees, but now it's just you and me. So how would you compare it to working by yourself rather than having, I don't know, 10, 15 employees working under you?
So when I had about 15 employees, then payroll was always a heartache. It was always hard to go and collect enough money to make payroll every month, and that was a real challenge. Plus it was hard for me to ever discipline anybody. I struggled with that personally, which probably hurt those people more than it hurt me, even because I wasn't giving them the proper direction on how to improve.
Yeah.
But it meant that I ended up doing a lot of extra work to fix things that other people had done wrong, and didn't always keep up on everything as well as I should have. It's a lot easier with just the two of us to keep track of every project and to know where everything is at, and payroll's a lot easier to keep up on.
Mm-hmm. So how do you like working at home, even though you're almost never home?
It's convenient to be able to walk 15 steps from my bedroom over to my desk and be able to get a lot of work done early in the morning or late at night. That really helps. I miss a little bit the camaraderie I had working in bigger firms with lots of guys around, but I still get to have some of those interactions either on the phone or with my clients. So the only part that's really a drawback is trying to have meetings. I always have to have meetings at a regular office. So.
Well, there you have it. That's what it's like to be self-employed. So we've got some bonus content with this one. So we're on a job site. One of the things he has to do a lot is inspect these buildings, see what goes on.
You're gonna get me in trouble here. Not wearing my card.
What is it that you have to do with this?
They didn't frame it. The way the plans show. I gotta figure out if we need to fix it.
So do you spend a lot of time in unfinished buildings?
I do spend a lot of time in buildings that look like this. A big part of my job is coming to look at the buildings while they're under construction, telling them how to fix things that don't fit quite right before they get screwed up during construction.
So this is what a house looks like before it's finished. You can walk through walls. So do you have to go back and redraw this kind of stuff?
Sometimes. This one I will.
So what is it that's not working with this place?
These joists, we're all supposed to run this direction. And they ran them all this direction. So they didn't ask me about it beforehand, but I'm not sure if these joists work. So we're gonna run some numbers.
Yeah, I don't suppose they're just gonna tear out all the joists.
Well, if they don't have to.
There's not a lot of variety in these unfinished buildings. Well, that was fun. But I promise not every video is going to be this boring, but it seemed like a good place to start, at least, so you can see what I do. Hopefully you learned a little bit about engineering and how to work from home, be self-employed. But thanks for watching.